Okay? These are some of the bundle of rights that go with real estate. So it's possession now. You should have that paper that shows the bundle of rights. Even if you sell real estate locally, the last deal that I did, which was a house that was $185,000, my total commission was $3,000. Okay, so that's a nice chunk of change. But you had to consider that it took me about 6 months to find the buyer, the deal that she wanted. So it was 6 months worth of work. But $3,000 was a nice chunk of change. And as you take listings, one thing that I always do, if I want a property to sell in like the first 60 to 90 days, you can put a selling bonus on it. So you can go to the seller and say, you know, sometime a property can sit on the market 6 months, a year. But if you put in the commission compensation and you say that $1,000 selling bonus for the realtor that sells the property. Yeah. So that person would make $4,000. If their normal commission was $3,000, they're gonna make $4,000, and that goes straight to them. The way commissions are broken up is that your broker, just like my broker is Fred Maselli. So if it's 6%, let me get a calculator. Let me see if I got a calculator. Yep. Okay. All right. So now I got a little bit of a bonus on the property where I made a $3,000 commission. Okay, but let's say a $200,000 house, and everything is always negotiable. But ever since I've been a realtor for this area, it's usually a 6% total commission. So I'm gonna see $200,000. Okay, so that gives you $12,000, usually divided by 4 parties. And those parties would be the listing broker. So that's where the seller came into the office and said, can you list my house for $200,000? And then the agent in the office who took that listing. So you divide this $12,000 in half. Bless you. What I do? Multiply it. So you got $6,000, and then that split. The $12,000 is split in half between the listing broker and the office that actually finds the buyer. Okay, so that agent and his broker will split the money. Okay, so it's 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Okay. Now, all right. So I'm gonna tell you what we're actually gonna read. I freestyled it for the first 2 lessons, and so I guess I only have 2 lessons worth of freestyle in me before we got to start reading the book. So this is Unit 2 in Modern Real Estate Practice in Pennsylvania, which is the book that most people use to study for the real estate exam. We went over Unit 1, and this is Unit 2 in the 13th edition. I think when I taught the first class, I used Unit 1 in the 12th edition. Okay, so we are actually I'm gonna read and then freestyle. That sound good? Okay. Alrighty. So, overview. Over the years, the government's policy has been to encourage private ownership of land, but this does not always mean that owners can do whatever they want to do with their properties. In most areas of the United States, local municipalities have developed comprehensive planning that restricts how land may be used, with the goal of orderly and planned growth. Land use is controlled and regulated through public and private restrictions and through the direct ownership of land by the federal, state, and local governments. Now, I let this chapter inspire me as to the assignments that I'm going to put online, okay? Because within that paragraph is so much. We have private ownership, we have government ownership of property, but just remember that's always fluid, okay? And I like to use examples from what's going on in our own communities. So I ride through Philadelphia, and if you're right to the east of Temple University, there used to be projects there. I forget what the name of them was, but around, 11th and Master. So I'm riding on 11th or 12th Street, and I see that these nice little petite brick houses are all boarded up. And so PHA, which is Philadelphia Housing Authority, controlled our projects. And you think about it, public dollars were used to build the projects. And let's say that particular project was built, I'm gonna make up, I don't know when it was built, but let's say it was built 60 years ago. Now, I could be wrong, you should research anything that I say. If a house has a useful life of 60 years, according to the IRS, all right, and the city took our tax dollars, built these houses, let people live in them, okay, and basically they weren't collecting any taxes all the years that it was public housing. They were probably getting subsidies from the federal government. They might even been getting private donations. Who knows how they fund public housing? That's something we need to figure out. But here it is 60 years later. It's exhausted its life is, at least to the IRS. What keeps a community from saying, let's turn this into permanent housing? Maybe the people who lived there all these years want to live there, want to come back, want to take care of it. If the city says we don't have money to take care of it and have a maintenance man, could the people who are now living there, grew up in this place, take it over? Things are fluid, and sometimes we don't think of those creative alternatives. Those are cute little houses. And then we're angry when a neighborhood changes and they take it and they turn it into condos, or they turn it into dormitories for Temple University, or even when they tear it down. Why'd they tear it down? To give a bunch of people from Jersey jobs to come in and build something that's not even going to last as long. Okay? So we usually have kids here with us, and my grandbabies decided to talk. Kalia, I'm being filmed. Okay? So can you do your math lesson? Thank you. It's only going to be a few more minutes, but we got to start to think creatively, because sometimes getting control of that public land and those houses and coming up with an alternative and going to public meetings and saying, y'all are going to tear this down for $3.5 million. Going to hire a bunch of people from New Jersey that don't even allow us in their unions for another $8 million to build something new when it's something already there. And if you took each of those units and divided up, 8 and 3, that's 11 million. How many $60,000 houses would you have? And let's just give the people that are there and some new people the opportunity to rehab these and give them a $30,000 check and be done. And turn over title. They think we're not smart enough to walk in there and advocate for something like that. And so when you see those little buildings get tore down and all those people get the $1 million jobs, and then it's houses that you can't afford, somebody walked into some type of meeting and proposed that. And when we don't get it, it's because we never walked into that meeting and proposed something different. Okay? All right, so we got private ownership, we got public ownership, and if the United States is we the people, it's us. We own it, okay? Now, we know that we got federal government, we got state government, and you got your local municipality. We live in the city of Philadelphia. Some people might live in the state of New Jersey, in Ewing Township, and then it might be some other kind of little borough, Ewing Township and whatever borough, okay? So you got to know what your local plan is for your area. One of the assignments that I'm going to upload to the online class is that for us first to look at what's in your area. If you get to know your area, you'll get good in any area. So where you live right now, start to really look around. If you want, you can send me a list of addresses. It could be all the addresses on your block. I'll tell you the history of what's going on with every house. And watch the movement. See how many people on your block transferred ownership from parent to child. Sometimes that's what's making your neighborhood seem like it's not worth anything.
They just, in fact, on my block, I live in Logan section,
Yes.
and my block is on Albania Street, and they just fixed up two houses, one across the street and one like on the same side street I'm on, like 8 houses down. They just fixed 2 of them up.
Right.
Some Puerto Rican guys. And I'm guessing they're going to, most likely I'm guessing they're going to sell them. I think they're still working on the other one, but they've been working on it for the past few months. Because I know one was, it was behind in taxes, and I had went up on it before they started doing any work. They had the paper on the door.
Right.
So I was like, dang. I knew the people that lived there, but the guy passed away, his wife was living there, and then she had just left. She just left the house. She ain't saying nothing to nobody. She just left. And it was like 83,000, something like that on the tax. And I'm like, well, dang. I said these taxes are not that high for the. They must have paid taxes for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
but ain't it also that it could have been liens or debt that they owed that made it 83,000, or was that all tax debt?
It could have been, but I doubt in the city of Philadelphia that it was 83,000 in tax debt. They would have had to have a yearly tax of about 1,500. And as of about 5 or 6 years ago, everybody in Philly's taxes was only like 500 a year.
Matter of fact, I got it last year, the taxes for this year. And there's only that's rounded off to $400.
Yeah, so something could have happened. Like, let's say if their house had a water line break and it filled maybe 2 neighbors, and the water department had to come in and compensate.
Because my question is, couldn't something? Because you said that's. But now, when you said that all the debt in a person's name goes on to a property owner, is it only the debt that they owe to the city?
Okay, so in a way, he's talking about 2 different things. So I'm gonna explain what. Now you could have misread. It might not have been 83,000. It might have been 8,300. Because 83,000, it would have had to be something really catastrophic happen. And even with the house that they tore down on my lot in Strawberry Mansion, the city only charged me 17,000 to demolish a 3-story building. So if he looked up tax debt and he saw 83,000, something's wrong in the city of Philadelphia. Okay, so it might have been 8,300, which could have still scared a person away from staying in the house.
And now they keep that separate when you look it up?
Yes, it's separate. Yep.
And now there was a house like right across the street from it that there's nothing there no more. It's basically grass or weed, not even call it grass. It's just empty. You see the.
And you know what? Not to cut you off, but when we finish this, I'm going to go straight to the computer. He's going to write down that address, so it's off camera, and I'll show you how you look up the taxes. Okay? Okay, so go ahead. House that was flat with weeds.
I know the people that used to live there, it's caught on fire.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, there's nothing there but weeds growing. It's just an empty space. There's a house here and there's a house here. It's nothing but empty. Now I know the people that, I don't know if they still own, I don't know if they own that, I guess you want to call it weed, dirt,
the land.
Yeah.
The land part.
Yeah, they do.
I'm like, nobody gonna build nothing here. This is there. You just see it right across to the other back of the other street houses. Like,
It still could be in their name, and we could actually look that up on the tax rolls, okay? Excuse me, 1 minute. Kalia, math lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put all the pens back in there. Put all the pens back in there.
So, It was, like I said, it was probably, we'll see, because we'll look it up. They probably still own the vacant lot, but to build takes a lot. And the way the city keeps a lot of people of color from building is that you have to have a tax clearance to do anything in this city. So just like I have delinquent tax. The first year that I lived, the first year I opened a business in the city of Philadelphia, I did not pay my business tax. I'm not ashamed of it because our tax system in this city is super complicated. I had a daycare my first year. Maybe I made $10,000 and I didn't do my taxes. And the city estimated what I owed them. And then that grew exponentially, okay, over the years. If you don't have a tax clearance certificate to get any type of permit, get any type of licensing in the city, so just like you want to be a realtor, but then you want to get into appraisals, you might want to open a company that can do electrical certifications. That's like super easy. These guys come from Hatboro, go in your basement, look and see if you turn.
That's the point. What's the tax clearance?
Huh?
What's
Yeah,
the
I'm
tax-
about to tell you. Okay, so before you can do anything in this city, before you can open up a company, you gotta have a tax clearance letter. What it says is that you don't owe the city of Philadelphia any taxes at all in any way, shape, or form.
And that's just the city of Philadelphia.
That's just the city of Philadelphia to have a business or do like be an electrician, have a small
How
company.
does that apply to becoming a real estate agent?
Not a real estate agent, no.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Hmm.
I guess as a real estate agent, if I was to keep it real, okay, I'm not as big a threat as if what I was trying to tell you about, opening up a company that does electrical certifications. There are all these companies outside of Philly. There's not even one company that does this in the city of Philadelphia. These guys come from Hatboro, Glen Olden. And anytime a house has been without electric for more than a year, they got to come over and put a little orange sticker on your electrical box, okay, that it is safe for you to turn the electric on. The first time got gagged. I paid $125 for that service. They only charged $50, but the person who charged me the $125 was an electrician who knew that there was nobody in the city of Philadelphia that had a company like that. They're all in Hatboro, Glen Olden. So I was like, how do I get this certification to turn the electric on? The guy who gagged me was a master electrician who was African American in the city of Philadelphia. I said, why you don't have one of these companies? You know what he said? He said, I can't get the tax clearance thing. I owe back taxes. He said, and they done tied me up so bad that he can't even have apprentices, because if a master electrician who is African American hires electricians as an apprentice so that you can become a master electrician, he now has to report every job y'all do, pay federal, state, and local tax on your income, okay, on his income. And a lot of times if you're just one guy, you know, I mean, sometimes we don't like to tell what we're making because we're barely making it. So he's got to pay all those taxes, pay insurance, pay liability insurance. Once your employee knows you got liability insurance, you trip and fall down the steps, you think you're getting paid, and this is just one guy trying to do the right thing. So he said that he had to stop having apprentices because when people said, oh, I worked for Joe Smith for the last couple years, so I've been working under a master electrician, then the city would go after him and say, this young dude said he was working for you for 2 years. Where the taxes you paid?
No, what all could they find you? Like, do you in the city of Philadelphia, you have to pay tax just from living here?
Yes. Home inspection license. Start you a company that does work on houses, you know, and just try to be as ethical and give the best clear prices, because we don't have anything in our community. And so everybody that is clear on their taxes needs to get a business started and run it right. You know, don't try to run fast. A lot of times what messes us up is we want to start trying to do everything fast. And you gotta do it slow, meticulously, and carefully. And so in Philly, we got the net profit tax and the business privilege tax. I've been dealing with it for about 25 years, and I still don't understand it. It's almost like 1 or 2%.
Of your income, or
Something
just
like
of
that.
what? Because what if you don't have income? Like if you're homeless in Philadelphia and then you paid all your taxes. Say you worked for 5 years in Philadelphia, you become homeless, right?
Yeah.
During that time you worked, they took out the taxes. You filed your taxes. They took the money out every time you did. Then for the next 3 years, you are homeless and you don't work. You literally living on the street.
Okay.
Somehow you get your life together. Now you get money. You go file for a business. Are they gonna say for them last 3 years you owe tax?
No, but what they will do, let's say you started a business and had a business, right? And then you got homeless, and the city of Philadelphia didn't see you file no taxes for them 3 years you was homeless and broke. The city is still looking for their money.
All right, now my question is, because I got that tax ID for a business, is that
Yes,
going to count?
you got to file every year, yes.